What is up, guys? It's Bobgar. This is closing thoughts for 10-ticket Grave Pact in Modern. $10, a little less, $9.25 online, and about 130 in paper. So it is one of the more expensive paper decks, even though it's quite cheap online. Big reason for that is Grave Pact, as you can see over here. The 4 copies run you almost $60 in paper. They're almost $15 a piece. And online, they're about 40 cents a piece. So much, much cheaper online. Just happens sometimes. I think it gets played a lot in EDH is probably the reason, and just also people probably love it for just casual decks. It's just really fun effect, but is what it is. Not much you can say. We went 4-1 in the practice lobbies. It was tournament practice lobby. I was not playing it through a league or anything, so not the stiffest competition, but we still ran into some real decks through the competition. We played against 5-color humans, which was a pretty tough matchup, and we managed to eke that one out. Our combo was super effective against them, and we also played against Burn, and we almost won game 2, but we ended up 0-2ing against them. Burn is not a particularly good matchup for us, just because we're very good at controlling creature decks, and they can finish out games without ever casting creatures, which puts us in a pretty hard position. So that's that. What else is there to say? I think the deck was sweet. I like a lot of the combos. I probably would change a few things. Some of them I don't know what I would change with. One of the big ones is Nether Traitor. It did feel good a couple games, but it is not as good as Gravecrawler, and makes me go, is it actually worth it? Should I replace it with something like Relentless Dead? Relentless Dead is a 2-mana zombie, so it would have some more Gravecrawler synergy, and when it dies, you pay 1 to return it to your hand. Definitely not as good as just returning it to play for 1. It ends up with a 3-mana loop similar to Dread Wanderer, because it costs 2 to play and then 1 to return to your hand. But could be good enough, and it does have some neat other synergies, like you can pay an additional X to return a zombie that costs X from the graveyard to your hand when it dies. So, you know, we could use that to, when he dies, not only return him, but also return a Nantuko Husk or Diregraf Colossus if we need those to combo off, or even a Cryptbreaker if we just need to draw more pieces. So, definitely tempting as a possibility. I'm not sure. Nether Traitor is really good in the deck. Even if we didn't show it here, there are times when you really need it. And yeah, Dread Wanderer is the other one that feels a little iffy, just because it's just not as good as Gravecrawler, but I don't think there's any similar effects that are just better for us in the zombie tribe. And then Viscera Seer, I guess, is the other one that's like, if this had zombie creature type, it would be way better for us. But I think that's just not going to happen, and I think the effect is important enough to the deck, because it's this kind of like super synergistic, almost combo deck. You really want to find your Viscera Seers to be able to use that effect well. The other thing I was thinking about changing in the deck is, if you wanted to up the budget, I think Collective Brutality is an interesting choice. We have at least 2 or 3 cards, Gravecrawler and Nether Traitor, we really usually don't mind discarding at all. And then Dread Wanderer is not a big deal either. So it makes Collective Brutality a lot better, because the Escalate is not very much of an expense to us, whereas for some decks it obviously would be. And then I would go down a couple either Tragic Slips or Sign-in Bloods for those. Probably like 2 Sign-in Bloods, or maybe 2 Sign-in Bloods, 1 Tragic Slip for a couple of those. I think we are a little weak at the 2-drop slot right now. I think we run 8, whereas we run 21 drops, and I guess 8 3-drops also, and then 4 drops. So I could see lowering the 3-drop count slightly, or even the 1-drop count slightly, to raise up the 2-drop count very slightly. But yeah, generally I was really happy with the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I don't remember if I said this in the intro or not. This deck is based vaguely on my girlfriend's deck. She had a deck with 4 Grave Pacts and Nether Traitor, and she wanted to see what my take on that deck would be. This is obviously pretty different than hers. Hers also had the advantage of not attempting to be modern legal where this is, so she could run things like Buried Alive to just toss 2 Nether Traitors in your graveyard, which is definitely pretty sweet. I thought this deck ran really, really well. I think you could take it to a Friday Night Magic and be relatively happy. I don't think it'll 5-0 very often, if ever, and I don't think it'll 4-1 that often. I think it's more like a 3-2, 2-3 deck, but I think it can grind with real decks in Modern, as we saw. Definitely not terrible. It definitely gets worse if your meta has a lot of enchantment hate, which is pretty uncommon, but does exist. Or graveyard hate also hurts us quite a bit, although graveyard hate's not nearly as bad. You can just get the Cryptbreaker out, draw a card every turn, and then, you know, sack every turn and still keep their creatures under pretty good control, as long as they're not like a token deck or something. But it does struggle with a few decks it really struggles with. combo decks, which we lucked out. We did not run into anything like ad nauseum or crazy, like no creature combos. Creature combos we can deal with a little bit just because we can sack at instant speed. If we have Grave Pact out, just stop their combo. But those non-creature combos are really hard for us. And then it also struggles with aggro decks, especially aggro decks that can finish you without having creatures in play. I think the big ones are things like red decks like Burn and Goblins. As you saw with Burn, we almost won game 2, but it was a real struggle, and we didn't quite make it. And I don't think we would have won game 3 anyway on the draw. Just a little too much over the top. It's like even if we can deal with the creatures, it really only expects the creatures to get in damage for the first 2 to 3 turns anyway, and then it plans to finish off the rest of the game with burn spells to face. And that is the way those games played out, basically. Even with our sideboard anti-burn spell, they still managed to just do, I think, exactly enough damage. I think we went to exactly 0. So it was a close one, but our opponent played it well, and there wasn't too much we could do. So yeah, that's the deck for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the games. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I think this deck is a super cool deck. If you happen to have the Grave Pacts, I would suggest buying it and buying it and playing it. If you don't, then obviously the deck gets pretty expensive. But yeah, it's super sweet. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you guys for watching so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye.